I'll tell you a story you'll never forget. A story about you and your cigarette. Enjoy smoother smoking, choose wisely, choose well. Smoke longer and finer and milder pell-mell. Pell-mell, pell-mell, pell-mell. Smoke longer and finer and milder pell-mell. No finer tobacco has ever been grown. So get yourself pell-mell and make it your own. Reward yourself with this quality high, the finest quality money can buy. Pell-mell, pell-mell, pell-mell. Smoke longer and finer and milder pell-mell.
Pell-mell famous cigarettes, outstanding, and they are mild.
Hello, welcome to the Ascent of Mount Carmel YouTube channel. This is where we discuss the book Ascent of Mount Carmel by St. John of the Cross. Today we're finishing up the 11th chapter. The least serious type of voluntary desire is what St. John calls imperfections. Imperfections aren't necessarily sinful, and they're relatively mild.
So reward yourself with a smoothness, mildness, and satisfaction no other cigarette can offer you. Buy Pell-mell famous cigarettes, outstanding, and they are mild.
But according to St. John, the desires for imperfections along with all voluntary desires must be mortified. St. John provides examples to show us what types of attachments these imperfections are. If we wish to achieve divine union, we need to become detached to things like a particular person, a piece of clothing, a favorite book, a room, a particular type of food, small talk, knowing or hearing certain things, and similar things of this nature. All of these things seem pretty harmless and pretty mild. Well, at the beginning of this video, we showed a clip from a cigarette commercial. Back in the 1950s and the early 60s, people had a sense that unfiltered cigarettes might be bad for their health. What we're doing with this installment is making a metaphor about the smoking of menthol filtered cigarettes back in the 50s and 60s. Like the imperfections that all of us have, the desire for smoking at that time wasn't sinful. Please remember that they didn't fully realize the health effects from smoking. They thought if they satisfied their desire to smoke with a mild filtered cigarette, it'd be okay. They didn't realize the devastating effect that not mortifying their desire for smoking could have on their health. The metaphor in this video compares cigarette smoking to our imperfections. We don't realize the devastating effect that our seemingly harmless and mild attachments can have on our souls. St. John tells us that when we become attached to any imperfection, it does us great harm. Back in the 1960s, they used to caution young cigarette smokers that smoking might stunt their growth. In the same way, our attachments and imperfections stunt our growth and progress. Our imperfections, no matter how slight, damage the virility and strength of our virtue. When we indulge our imperfections, which are often just daily habits or routines to which we have grown comfortable and accustomed, we create roadblocks in our journey toward divine union, even though the imperfection might be extremely slight and mild.
How mild, how mild, how mild can a cigarette be? Make the Camel 30-day test and you'll see.
For example, if we are tied up by a thick chain, we are incapacitated. However, if we are tied up just with a slender cord and we're incapacitated, it really doesn't make much of a difference how great of a cord or a chain it is that it's binding us. If we can't break free, that slender cord might as well be a heavy chain. Just as a damp log won't burn when you put it in the fireplace because it's defective for its purpose and can't burn, a soul cannot be completely transformed in God if it has a single imperfection, although it might be just a mild imperfection.
In a repeated national survey, doctors in all branches of medicine, doctors in all parts of the country were asked, "What cigarette do you smoke, doctor?" Once again, the brand named most was Camel. Yes, according to this repeated nationwide survey, more doctors smoke Camels than any other cigarette. Why not change to Camels for the next 30 days and see what a difference it makes in your smoking enjoyment? See how camels agree with your throat. See how mild and good tasting a cigarette can be.
Though we have great potential, we're created in the likeness of God, but because we don't try to break some small whim or attachment or affection, we just can't make progress. God has given us the strength to overcome a great deal. Many of us have defeated harmful addictions. Yet, still, many of us are still stymied because we haven't shaken off some small, trifling thing that's nothing more than a thread or a hair. What's worse is if we don't progress because of this imperfection, we're in danger of falling back and losing all the good that we've gained. On the road toward divine union, not to go forward is to turn back, and not to be gaining is to be losing. The Bible also tells us that one perfection can lead to another, and these imperfections in turn to lead to even more. Scripture says, "Of one spark cometh a great fire." If we fail to mortify our imperfections, those imperfections will multiply and block our progress toward divine union and be the ruin of us. Therefore, I would not destroy them before your face, that you may have enemies, and their gods may be your ruin. In conclusion, in physical development, there's a saying, no pain, no gain. This saying is even more true in regard to spiritual development. We'll be back next week with another installment about the sayings of the Desert Fathers on silence. In the meantime, please pray for the church.
Man, that's smoking enjoyment. Boy, that's good.
Light up a lucky.
It's light up time.
Be happy, go lucky.
It's light up time.
For the taste that you like, light up a lucky strike.
Relax.
It's light up.